Anaya. Oh, like she's just so cool.
Nice, okay.
Hey, first lady.
Hey, how are you?
Good. You on a trip, Ashley?
You're welcome, Ashley.
Arnisha, what are you doing? We supposed to be here.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
Yeah, Pastor is recording.
Yeah, I'm live streaming for people who want to be here but can't be here. That are texting me telling me that we're late. So.
Can we eat Pastor?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Send me a secret second.
Yes.
You want some?
Nobody else is here.
I said, do you want something?
Next
We
year?
announced it.
Okay. I enjoy that. Being able to go.
Hey y'all. Let's see. If you can hear me, type a message so I can see it, please. We have a couple of couples who are streaming who are not here, like Florida or like South Georgia and other places. And so, just want to make sure.
Somebody type a comment.
I'm gonna start in about 2 minutes. I'm just waiting on this. Hope everybody's day was well.
Yes. How was yours today?
It's been a good day. I can't complain. I won't complain.
I know that's right. Praise God.
Hello? Yeah. Huh? He already ate today. They don't have the dog's bowl.
I'm away. I am
He
ready.
said he could bring it. Alright. Alright.
All right. Let me
Huh?
grab something to drink.
Okay.
Grab something to drink, and we will get started. Still.
It's
All right. Careful.
I was just trying to stay low. It's your camera. I'm fine. I'm definitely gonna get in it.
All right. All right.
So did you all go to the classes and stuff too, or did you just go to the concerts and stuff?
We just went to
This
the
one.
concerts.
Okay.
Next year we'll be prepared. I didn't even know anything about it until Aunt Norma called me and told me she was here.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't even know anything about it. And it really inspired me so much. It was so inspiring. And we believe by God that, that next year we'll be doing something with them.
Okay.
All right. Good evening again, everyone. Let me make sure this is okay. Yes. And talking.
This is so strange.
All that stuff.
She's making a chicken look so good.
All right. So, hey, everybody in the room. Hey, everybody.
It is good. It's
Online.
propaganda. So it is good.
Welcome to Shock Factor. And so we'll talk for just a few minutes. I'm Pastor TR. It's Pastor Aisha.
I'm Pastor Aisha. This is Pastor TR. Welcome to Shock Factor.
This is what we're doing tonight. And so we wanted to take a minute and just kind of gather couples together. For a while, we've kind of taken a break from marriage ministry stuff. We've done a lot of marriage ministry things. The thing that we normally do is called Marriage Matters, which is specifically for married and engaged couples. But we wanted to take and create a space for married, engaged, seriously dating couples to really just kind of be able to come talk together and in fellowship together. And so tonight, it will look like a combination of, I'll send to you in just a minute, it look like a combination of conversations amongst each other and conversations as couples, right? And so our focal point tonight is what I want to call small talk. So make sure, people online, that your significant other is sitting next to you so that you all can have conversation together. It's only going to work if you're together. So couples gathering, meaning couples have to come together so that we can have conversation as couples. Otherwise, it does not work. So we will pray. Pastor Aisha is going to lead us in a quick word of prayer. And then we will facilitate. We'll probably be together for maybe about 50 minutes or so tonight. We'll facilitate some conversation together. And then we'll facilitate some conversation. We have some questions that will allow for us to dialogue as a couple. The goal is to be able to strengthen relationship, to be able to continue to learn more about each other and fellowship together as couples. All right? So, Pastor Aisha, if you would pray for us.
Let us pray. God, we thank you for this time together as we fellowship as couples, seriously dating, engaged, or married. We ask, oh God, that even as we have formed this cohort together, that you will continue to strengthen our relationships. God, that you will open us up to not only receive each other, but to give to each other as well in conversation and in mind. We thank you, God, that you have created this space. So we ask that you be in the midst of us, even in our conversation, in times of laughter and sadness and in times of confusion. We ask, oh God, that you remain in the midst of us. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Now, I want to, for those of you that are streaming online, there should be a little chat box that you can type in and ask questions or chime in if you desire to do that way. I know that some of you all have been texting us. You can text too, but if you type in the chat, we'll also see it in the chat box. So either way works. So I have a question that I want to ask, and that is this. How do you as an individual feel about small talk? Small conversation, small talk. Just, so when I say small talk, is everybody clear what I mean?
No.
Can you give an example of small talk?
Hey, how are you doing today? What do you think of this weather?
Stuff like that. So how do you feel about small talk? How do you feel about small talk?
How do I feel about small talk?
You feel like it's pointless?
Well,
Does it have a point?
I don't feel like it's pointless. I feel like it's really making an entry to a bigger conversation. You start out with small talk, hey, how you doing, etc. And it can lead to, get to know a person, actually. That's what I think it could be.
Okay, so small talk can be an entryway or a doorway. Okay. Anybody else, how you feel about it? Any other thoughts concerning it?
I feel like small talk only only allows you to open the door to a deeper level if both people want to go to that deeper level. Otherwise, it will just stay on the surface and small talk.
Cool. Stay on the surface, small talk. Anybody in virtual land? You guys have any feelings about small talk? No? I'm trying to integrate this live streaming in the room situation. And so we'll see how this
I think
actually
it would be
works.
cool maybe if we like
Projected.
did the screen so then people could see like the chat on YouTube.
Well, I could put it up on the screen and then we could see if there's a chat up on the screen.
Because don't you have to like
The
you
chat
have
is
to
right here, I'm
refresh
sorry.
it? Oh, you don't have to refresh it.
Nope.
Okay. I think small talk is awkward. So small talk begins because there's a silence that somebody feels like they have to fill, right? So you just start talking to the person next to you or to the person across from you, and it can be extremely awkward.
I think that small talk is an icebreaker, and it breaks the ice to get to know each other.
So icebreaker, open door, only get as far as somebody else will want to go and let you go. Awkward or uncomfortable. I had Thursday night went to go see a movie screening for Detroit, and so we actually ran into a friend of ours that she's going to school with. She's recently graduated with another degree, but there's still one of the couple still in school there. And so we sat next to them at the movie theater, and when I sat down, there were 2 seats. There was another person sitting on the left side of me, and then like 3 seats on the side of him empty. So I sat down. So some people won't move. They like their seat. Other people move because, it's like, hey, there's other space. So he didn't move, right? So it was like him, me, my wife, then the other couple. And so we just kind of sat there. So now you're kind of like, movie theater chairs are not that big. Well, depending on which movie theater you go to. So not a whole lot of personal space and those kind of things. So if you're like a big personal space person, you're probably like, hey, can you move down a seat or whatever. I'm not like terribly big on that, so I'm okay. So we just kind of sat or whatever. So he leaned over to me in like the middle of the movie and was like, hey, that's my nephew. His nephew was one of the stars in the movie. Right? Just random small talk conversation. Like you said, super awkward because at this point, in movie theaters, you kind of fight for elbow. Who's going to have their elbow on the, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Right. Who's going to use the cup holder? Like, what's going on here? Like, how's that stuff going to work? Whatever. So, kind of sharing the armrest and all those things. So he leans over to me. And so from that point, that little bit of small talk led into more small talk throughout the movie, led into more small talk during the conversation that happened afterwards in the movie, right? So, kind of entry point, those kind of things there, met somebody new, and all of those things. One of the reasons, though, I asked about that is because small talk, like you all said, is relevant, as awkward or as uncomfortable as it can be. Because, for instance, small talk with new people is uncomfortable. Small talk with people that you see all the time, depending on how you feel, can be annoying, cannot be annoying. Right? So here's my example. One of the things that I make sure to do with my wife, we sleep in the same bed every single day, see each other multiple times a day, the way that our schedules are set up. We're generally around each other most of the day, the way that our schedules are set up. And in that day, at any point given in the day, I will ask her, how are you doing today? How did you sleep last night? How do you feel today? Stuff that may feel irrelevant, may feel like, well, what do you mean how? Some people will look at you and say, what do you mean how am I doing today? You've seen me all day long.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I know how you're doing.
Right.
Small talk, right? Because typically, if somebody says to you, if you get out the car, I come up on the porch, and I say to you, hey, Arnisha, how are you today? Typically, what's your response going to be? I'm doing well. Now, to Jeff's point, I'm doing well is I'm not having no more conversation with you, even if I'm not doing well, right? You said to me when we first came in, well, I'm just getting over a cold, right? Which is a little bit beyond small talk now, right? But if I just say to you, hey, how you doing today? And you're like, I'm doing well. And never get to the point of saying, well, I haven't been feeling the greatest because I'm just getting over a cold. Well, like Jeff said, you kind of put the brakes on this bump now. I'm not getting past the small talk. It just kind of is what it is. But like you said, right, small talk can be a gateway and an open door. Small talk is a way to be able to establish trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to establish rapport and relationship. Even when it can seem irrelevant, it can lead to meaningful dialogue. So today, I want us to facilitate small talk as couples, right? I want us to facilitate small talk with each other. And to answer, I have a set of questions that I want to ask us, and I'll ask us a question, and then as couples, we'll turn to our significant other, and we'll have a conversation. Hopefully, by the end of this time, either we will have learned something new, or something will click and will make more sense about the person that we're sitting next to. And one of the reasons why we call it shock factor is because some of these responses that we get may actually be shocking to us, right? Maybe things that we haven't thought about or we haven't known, because perhaps we're really good talkers, but not really good listeners. Or we're really good listeners, but we don't like to talk. You know, some of us are really good listeners, but we don't like to talk. Talking is uncomfortable. Look at these staring faces. No! Are you guys looking at somebody next to you in the room too? So I want you to, the people in the room, when I said are really good listeners, don't like to talk, did this. So I want to know if y'all did that too, right? I just want you to know that that's what happened. So this requires that for both parties to have a conversation and communicate. All right. So we'll do less talking as a large group. We'll do some of that, but we'll do more talking as couples tonight to facilitate those conversations. All right. So here we go. The first question that we'll ask tonight is, when do you remember laughing with me the most? So that's the question that you're asking to the person sitting next to you. When do you remember laughing with me the most? So that's the question that both of you all have to answer. So to our people in Florida, our people in Rankin, and anywhere else that people are watching, the question that you're asking your significant other now is, when do you last remember laughing with me the most? So we'll take maybe the next 120 seconds, 2 minutes or so, and we'll facilitate and answer that question. We can go a little bit longer, but have that. So if you got to think about it, you got to think about it. But so when's the last you remember laughing?
What is this?
It's just hard to name.
When was the last time you remember laughing with me the most? When we just? Okay. Alright. So you gotta ask me questions. What?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would have to say last night. Because remember, it was like, my stomach is turning. I said, you know your stomach doesn't really turn right.
I'm sorry. I just really like it.
And you were like, don't be picky. Yeah. So,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
We got it?
Yeah.
There's a lag on here, but Janice said she just saw me texting her.
Oh, okay. So then it's just the
So
iPad.
Maybe it's just the iPad. Should I refresh it on the iPad?
Nope, that's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe I should. It won't change anything if I just press refresh.
All right. So everybody had an opportunity to answer that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Did you all get a chance to answer? Nobody's. I'm going to text because nobody is chatting. We're better. All right. So, next question. Some people talk to figure out what they're thinking, and some people don't talk until they know what they're thinking. Which one do you think that I am, and which one are you? I'll read it again. So some people talk to figure out what they're thinking, and some people don't talk until they know what they're thinking. Which one do you think that you are, and which one do you think that I am?
Which one do you think I am? That's not the question. That wasn't the question.
So the question is, which one do you think you are, and which one do you think I am? So that is the question, no?
Exactly.
She just gave a one word answer. The talker.
You asked me a
The
question.
talker.
She thinks that you're the talker.
Or you're the silent one. Wait.
Does that question make sense?
I am the one
Yeah.
who doesn't talk until
That's 50% true.
I think that we both talk when we know something.
Me too.
We don't figure it. We will figure it out.
No.
Yeah. We talk.
Sometimes.
There's something we talk.
You will tell me.
I stop in the middle of what I'm saying
I can-
until I know you're real.
All right. So everybody's good. Everybody's able to participate. Are they? Let me make sure one other person is good here.
Yo, my face is horrendous. I think somebody who watched this and don't know what's what they got over.
All right. Next question. What does the word affection mean to you, and what does the word romance mean to you? So this is a question that you have to answer for the other person. So for me, romance means this. For me, affection means this. So you're telling the other person what these things mean to you. Not what I think you think they mean, not what you think I think they mean. This is what I think they mean. All right? So affection, romance.
Huh? No, I was asking. What is affection?
I
No.
think
This question to you.
affection
Well, swallow it.
Affection to me is like
What's affection?
shown or spoken.
Give me an example.
Okay.
Okay, what is romance?
But I also think I think
Now it starts to blend together. Your romance and affection will become the same thing. What's the difference?
Romance to me. Affection to
What
me.
is romance? What is romance to you? Player, what's affection sound like? You said the little things. Affection is that you're grateful for something little. But it's still little.
No, just
What
like
about to you?
Well, tell me the difference. What's the difference?
Love, affection.
affection is love shown.
What is romance? How is romance?
Right, so
Affection is caring. And what is romance?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Supporting.
What is romance then?
I think that's what
Romance is what?
That's affection.
See? Nah. Decide. Come on. Affection and support. You told me affection is fixing you grateful. That's not support. That's just being nice. Nah, because you gotta find romance. Romance, if you don't, if you clean with romance. Okay, cool. Thank you for giving me clarity. Are you gonna ask me a question?
All right, give you a couple more minutes on this question.
What does it mean? Affection means cooking pancakes.
Affection means cooking pancakes.
Yeah, you cook real good pancakes. Romance would be something that's planned and intentional. Romance is something planned and intentional, right? So, like you said, the park thing, or when that day that I took you to the nail, massage, and all, that's romance. Romance takes you intention. Affection could be loving your feet. Massaging your scalp. No, it can't be romance. We're not in twirling. Romance or affection are different. I was telling you that's what affection is in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Romance is something that takes more planning. It don't take much thought to your feet. They're there by Jesus. When we're talking about this stuff, we're not talking about other people.
Okay, we're good?
Yeah.
I think by definition, though, I'm just gonna throw this out there. This is nothing, no change in you all's responses or answers, though. I think that the main hard line delineation between romance and affection, to a large degree, is the intent behind it. Because you can be affectionate with anyone, but it's gonna be a problem if you're romantic with everyone.
Right.
And so now I think there's some delineating things that, again, become personal in terms of your response to your answer, but I think that's a good baseline, right? You can be, and I think that this is good. The reason why this would be a good, like, full just session conversation to have by itself, because a lot of people's relationships get in trouble because people don't understand that it's okay to be affectionate towards other people.
Mm-hmm.
They also don't understand what it looks like for somebody else to be affectionate towards other people. So my affection may be different from your affection, so now you feel like I'm flirting or I'm cheating when I'm not.
Right.
Right? Whereas, if we're clear about what it means for me to be affectionate, what it means for you to be affectionate, what those good lines and boundaries are, and we become clear about what it means for us to be romantic, then we can look and say, you know what, I'm not even bothered by that.
Right.
Because I know what the intent is behind this.
Right.
I know how you are. I know what this is for you. I know how this can be perceived by other people, but I know what this is.
Right.
You say because it has been. Okay. Not sure what that means. But all right. So no, I think that's a whole other conversation and dialogue that could be had. But I think that line is good, and to be clear about that is also important. All right. So what's one time lately that I've made you feel great about yourself, and how can I do that more often?
So, what have I made you feel great about yourself? And how can I do that more
What's one time lately that made you feel great about yourself? No,
How can I do that more often? Or how can I be
I'm talking. No, I was.
what was the first question? Have I done to make you feel great lately? And how can I, okay, so how can I do it more often?
Okay.
Well,
I had a couple of different
President was in the last thing.
Reading more and learning. Reading more.
I think when I do stuff that I don't think is really significant, but in your eyes there's significant, like you made that post, then now you did that.
Okay.
And last night when you was,
That's a lot
I
of
think
time.
was it this morning? When you was
Yeah, girl, this is a great time.
that are around him that are drumming
And that
close.
This is what you don't get to all
That
reading
made me feel
and
good
learning.
too. Stuff like that.
Educating makes you grow.
Like when you're honest and transparent and like that, you say you're confusing. It didn't make me feel great because it let me know that I do listen. If I don't say, how can you do that more often?
Well, you made me feel.
When
You feel great about myself.
Whenever I'm doing the right thing, you know.
About 2 months ago.
No. The question was, how can you do what you did to make me feel great? No, I mean,
Keep learning.
I feel like I should
Look
get
up where you
praise
don't know
for
what's up
something
about.
I'm not doing right. You know what I'm saying?
And I know I can do more of that.
Alright. I mean, if you say, yeah. Like when you send me messages randomly. The other day you sent me something on Snapchat. But I think I started doing it with you, so you thought it was okay to do it to me. No. I think it was.
I tried.
One more
You
question.
better not say try.
I learned how to take the word out of my mouth.
Oh,
I'm not going to use that word no more.
you sound like that guy at Family Dollar yesterday. I tried.
Well, thank you.
All right. We have some more questions on this. You're not here in person, so you're missing the snacks. I would say. I mean, there are a couple. I'll make sure that the next time you guys can talk on the conferencing.
Or you could just take a trip.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works too. All right. Everybody had a chance to answer that question? Get answers? All right. When did you first get the definite feeling God is here, God is real? Where were you? What were you doing?
Someone in this relationship.
You can answer both as an individual, as a person, and or in the relationship.
When did
So when did you realize God was here? I wonder when he said God is here, that means when we realized he existed, or we believed he existed.
Up to you how you want to answer that question, Jeff.
I'm just thinking about it. But if I don't interpret the question, he said right. I don't know the answer to the question. Why did he do it?
When I realized that,
Alright. When I realized God
I
existed,
realized that.
when I knew
This is
what
when I
God
realized when I was
felt,
drinking.
when I realized his presence feels right. When I realized
Say recent.
you talked about. I mean, when I got saved, I didn't understand anything like that. But I knew I didn't want to go to heaven. So, yeah. When did you
I had a
realize
problem.
God was in this relationship?
How long was it ago?
And do you believe God is in this relationship?
Right.
Recently.
Who said it?
I'm not laughing at you. I'm sorry.
So Man, we're not laughing at my clown sometimes.
I'm not laughing at it. That's serious.
Ooh, look. Over there, you escape from.
Walk you to that.
Oh,
When did you realize God was in the church?
I was just doing things.
I didn't know that.
During that time, just going here and there. I'm not going person that just being a
That
part of
was
something.
what? You knew God was in this relationship before you met me? How did you know that?
Tell you what it is.
God is here. God is real.
How did you know I was in it? You told me you knew I was. You just told me. I don't know myself.
When I started reading about the Holy Temple,
You remember you was you said you knew when you first
I
started
didn't know
meeting
that.
from the
I didn't
game.
know that this was a Holy Temple.
Is that true?
I mean, you could understand the
So it's true when I picked you from the game.
I
That's
can
what you
understand
How did you know?
temple. So maybe
How did I?
stop doing that.
I know. But I still
I feel like if you
So
talk
I
about it,
stopped.
you just
Stop
want to see
reading that. I'm not gonna continue
that
doing
was
it.
You listen, you like listening to subconscious.
Everybody else conversation.
Back in 2000.
So you felt like that was your relationship when you first saw me? How you know? Oh. Okay, cool. Alright.
So
Why
all
after
the
the
time
book?
you didn't realize God was real enough sometimes.
When you took me back? When you said, when I hit you up and you still wanted to talk to me. I mean, like I said that. I knew it in the beginning. What? What? It wasn't that bad. What you used to tell me is like, what made me fall in for you? It's how you treat me, remember that? I never forget that. That's just cake is hitting.
It is.
Hey,
Can you
where
get
you
your
get this from?
I got her cake, but she was like,
With the face and everything.
what's that?
See, that's what you was going to say about me.
You got different taste buds.
I'm thinking like a whole bunch of times.
Oh, okay.
I was on my back.
I got you.
Yeah, you just roast it
I
out.
can tell.
She was getting a musician. There's a lot of stuff I can't explain. But you know what I'm saying.
You need to take out.
You have a heart of gold.
I was shooting this nigga the whole thing.
Did you go get free lipstick today?
You know about it?
I saw it on Facebook.
And you know
Lord.
what I did?
All right. So we had a chance to answer that question. I have another
I
question.
don't understand that.
So here's my next question.
Where was it at?
Name two.
I'm sorry you interrupted me.
This was not a conversation, Jermaine. This is what we got going on right now. Couples, right? It's real life stuff that happens. It's real life stuff. This is what life looks like, right? You're trying to do something just all focus. You going to get makeup and MAC? Lines wrapped out the mall because they good way to do lipstick?
Wrapped out the mall.
Lord.
They're giving free
It was,
lipstick.
apparently it was free. It
Today
was
is
National
Lipstick Day.
Lipstick
Oh,
Day,
wow.
Makeup Day.
I realized all that is really important to women. I don't
They
think
were-
it's important.
Oh, I got
I
it.
mean,
Right.
They're coming out with a whole new line of lipstick, so they were trying to get rid of what's in the warehouse. So they created the day to get rid of it.
I wonder if they have the.
You're
You
right.
should've won.
Next question.
Next question. Name two things you want to be remembered for.
Say it again.
Name two things you want to be remembered for. And after you name those two things, tell me how I can help you develop those two things.
Mm-hmm. Next question? Okay. So, how, what's that two things you want to be remembered for it, and how can I help you get there?
I want to be
you
So
don't want
what
to
is
go
the
no
two
food.
things that you want to be remembered for? You be like, when I die,
Why is it, man? Who asked
Only
the
two
person
things.
first?
One thing is,
Why are you trying to base it on no? Because when I answer first, you be like, I want to do the same thing.
that go hard all the way to the extreme.
word.
That one word.
Nobody.
Yes,
It says a lot.
and two things you want to be remembered for. Just a good guy, one. And
Okay.
That's one word.
the second one
That's not. That's one thing.
And I want to
is all.
be remembered
Mm-hmm.
for
The second one.
Again.
I would say a role model, motivator.
What? You gotta be known for
Proverbs 31.
Oh my word! I'm not taking that.
and making
Absolutely.
Encompasses everything.
We're not
My
doing
business
all-encompassing.
savvy, my
How can I help support
philanthropy,
that?
You help me by
my mothering abilities, my
just continue doing what you're doing.
This was just a two-answer question.
That is two
Yeah,
I'm
answers.
trying to all-encompass umbrella. This was not an umbrella question.
Continue doing what you are doing.
I want to be remembered for my observances.
Haven't you
I
helped
get it. Alright.
Ecclesiastes
me?
5.
Be a good role model.
I want to be known.
That's difficult to do.
What's the easiest I'm saying?
There is a time under the sun for
And I
everything.
want to be known
A time to live and a time to die.
for
A
bringing
time to be
peace
happy and a time to
to
mourn.
people in the
A time to be grand and a time to be humble.
Even
Sit
when
down.
they're
No,
grown people,
That's
if they're family issues, everything, I want to be.
what we do.
Making.
I come and everything just shifts. You know, for peace. And
I guess there's no way you can help me to do that. Because you don't ask.
how I have the conversations with
Someone who
If you want to be
I
remembered
feel like there's a lot of stuff.
you talk
Like,
about
how can we direct people to see the best in
and
themselves?
someone like that help people get to know who they are.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Okay, your turn.
helps. I'm not helps.
Now, you came up with these questions. You already have
I'm
your
making sure I stay in a peaceful manner.
Why not?
Helping me to when I do get out of pocket. Then you help me redirect like all that energy or frustration knowing that I am being
For creating
Or,
safe
even when people do me super dirty. You tell me, you encourage me to still love you. That's all I want you to say that you do super dirty. But you shifted to say, Jesus. Stuff like that. Yeah, you should really try this cake though.
I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna make a big one.
Nah, this is. What? No. It's nothing in this cake compared to that video. Maybe an egg. Maybe an egg.
Examples.
A good example of what? A good example.
But no, flavoring is okay. It's not as worse as.
What is
It's
this?
not as
A
worse
song
as.
one man.
Getting a burger right now. Or eating
better
whole
know.
mac and cheese.
That's what I want to be remembered for.
We good? Had a chance to answer?
That was a
Yeah.
great question.
Okay. Good. So next question. What does the word success mean to you? So what does it mean for if somebody says, hey, you're successful? What does that mean to you? Because there are people every day that'll look at your social media, that'll look at what you drive, that'll look at where you pull into and where you live, that'll look at the buildings that you're going to, and they may assume, hey, you're successful, but it may not be success to you, right? It may be the appearance of success to everybody else. So, what does success mean to you?
What is success?
Success is possession of the qualities of a successful person.
Can you use the word and definition?
S.
I was getting ready to say, you do not hear me, no. Oh my God.
C.
Oh my gosh.
Charismatic.
So, getting ready
C.
to tell you not to give me an
It's a
answer.
system.
Which is why it's like so literally out of my mouth is
You learn something.
I should have said it. I should have said it. We would have bust out laughing. Good gracious. No, I did not.
The first C
No,
is charismatic.
No.
The second C is Christian. E is power. S.
So success to you is
Let's
So-
say, what does that say for us?
locked in with Jesus.
I'm gonna make an example.
Because you're locked in with Jesus.
Sanctified.
You're mentally good. You're physically
That
well.
is success.
That makes sense.
Full of terms.
Because
You
you're
paint
Success
everything.
is actually having the things that
Everything you
people
paint.
think you
Full of terms. So one day, you clean up everything. You paint the world,
Success to me
put the two words in there.
means that yes, everything God
Yeah,
and
accomplished.
definitely fulfilling my purpose and everything
What success mean?
I could expect more. Like,
Because what that?
I mean, it's not the house.
Okay.
It's not the nice car.
What is success?
It's really
When
being so locked in with Jesus
hard
and being
work
confident
matters.
where I'm at and on a daily,
You said what now?
on a daily, that I can just be locked in and know, yeah, I don't have this, I don't have that,
Pops it
but I
out.
got Jesus, so I'm successful.
Pops it out.
Good.
Especially
So many
in this world,
different ones. I like that.
or money.
Hard work.
If
I
you
don't.
Now what you say, Robin, when potential, well not potential, what you say, potential marries
Yeah.
reality. My God, my God, is it? It's what?
It's about Jesus.
Now that I'm, they don't say I'm like, fear of nothing, because I'm sure that. My element is different now. Like, I've been known as a musician.
You don't call me
I'm just saying.
Like,
We should
I know we
or in
talk
no, I don't even talk to me. No, but like, sometimes like the things you just said, I know that's how you
I've never done it.
how you talking to me. It was like
Now, since I
you
began
were
to
presenting
develop
something.
that, I began to
No, it's okay.
part of my repertoire.
He's like,
I'm still learning that too as well.
people have
now,
things
since
and
the
now,
camera's
you know,
hooked up to
that's
it.
not what's
So
successful.
basically, that's really-
You were more talking
it's
as
worth
in,
it. To just mention.
you weren't talking to me though. Like, I want to tell you, I'm telling you, this is interesting. Okay. But you do that,
Back to what we always
like we
talk
were talking about something, and you'll give me a general presentation answer. It sounds super professional, it's right, but it's not offensive to me.
This next question is good. This is
I like
changing
when
too.
to respond without the professional. I like when to respond all in this peaceful. I feel like you
That's
said
the
it in a
question.
refined manner, so it doesn't leave anything to go
I told you
anywhere.
already.
Like we should just say I can go
So
anywhere with it.
if you would have asked me that question,
What can I have?
guess what? I would have
Where?
gave. I would have gave. Maybe this example,
Exactly.
but I would have given
Like
an example.
you give me such a
according to
refined
this.
answer, I can't really go nowhere.
That's success.
Like after you talk, that's it.
Accomplishment.
There's
If you
quit.
You still got your own
But if you accomplish,
You said what? No, I was no, we have answers. I was telling her
That's
like she doesn't give me raw, pure answers. She gives me refined presentation
That's
answers.
success.
I was like,
What building did you say in your freshman year?
you accomplished.
People on HA stroll team answers. There you go.
yeah, give me one of those answers. Well, you ain't gotta give me this.
Living lavish.
It is
I can say,
It has nothing to do with
I eat cornbread and cardigans. Things is like this. Okay.
That's the real success.
Cornbread.
You know, that's the real success.
Yeah.
When you have a personal relationship with Christ, that's the real success because guidelines. Someone that you can look a role model. You know, Christ is a role model of success.
Oh, okay.
And if you follow him,
So
you'll be successful.
this is another question that I think
All that time.
becomes a whole longer conversation, right? Becomes a whole longer conversation. I went to my wife. See, I know my wife. We've been friends for almost 20 years. Been married for 7. And I said to myself in my head, I should tell her she better not give me an acronym. And what did she say? That's why I laughed. What did she immediately start to give me an acronym? She gave me an acronym for success. But one of the things I think that we've come together on, that I think we agree upon, is that in a lot of ways, I think a good standard definition of success, and again, they nuance and they change based on the person, but a good standard is being able to see the reality of what you desire. Right? So, for instance, if you have 50 chairs and you want 50 people to show up, success for some people may be having 50 people and 50 chairs. Success for some people may be having 50 chairs for people to sit in, whether they're there or not. Right? And for some people, success may be having 15 people, although you have 50 chairs. Because you have some people, although it's not at the 50 chairs yet. So you benchmark it based upon what your desire is. And so you can be on the road to success and be being successful for some, and or for others it may not be success at all, quote unquote, right? So if there's a particular goal and you set that goal and you're not there, then the question is, were you overall successful, or can you still celebrate the successes along the way? So you start using our word in multiplicity of ways, it gets confusing there. Because you can have successes without being successful the way you desire.
Right.
Yes, Jeff?
Lost.
I mean, if you have multiple successes, doesn't that make you full of success? Which means you're successful.
So,
I mean, depending on like how you
So,
look
Jeff,
at it.
you can have 5 cars and none of those cars be the car that you want.
True.
And somebody can look at you and be like, oh, wow, Jeff has 5 cars, he's successful. And if Jeff says, yeah, but these 3 cars are sitting here because I haven't gotten them fixed. They just look pretty because I watched them to keep the Georgia pollen off. Right? This one takes way too much gas and I don't like it anymore. And this one I deal with and I drive, but it's still really not the one that I want, but they're all paid for. So that's success because they're all paid for. But it's not optimally the one that I desire to have right now because of X, Y, and Z. And this is my goal. Right? And I mean, that's just one example of that. So I think that you measure success based upon what the thing is, based upon what you're doing, and sometimes it's better to stair-step success. Again, a whole other conversation for a whole other day. Because the question then could be, what does a successful relationship look like? What does successful affection look like? What does successful intimacy look like? Right. Thank you. What does successful marriage look like? Successful dating look like? Successful engagement look like? What does that look like? And that varies based upon who I am, upon who you are, and what we come to an agreement on.
Right.
Right? Because when we start talking about stuff like that, that's not something that one person defines. Right? That's something that we have to define together. We have to figure out together. We have to work together. All right, I got another question for you. And this may take you a long time, may not take you a long time. What dream have you put on the back burner, if any? Do you think it'll stay there forever? Or would you still like to live it out one day? And if so, how can I help you? So what dream have you put on the back burner? Do you think that it'll stay there forever? And if not, how can I help
Okay, so what dream you have on the back burner?
Anybody want a back burner?
I don't feel like you put that on the back burner. I just feel like you're not in that position yet to do it. I don't think you put it on the back burner.
One day.
You think you put it on the back burner?
I know. This is why I said, which is why I said to you.
It's funny, when you was getting out of college, that's when you got out of high school, that was your first thing you wanted to do.
I want to move.
So it's on the back burner.
That's a dream.
But why do you feel like it's on the back burner? When people say back burner,
That's a dream.
I think
That's what's
about
not
that you have an opportunity to do like right then, but you just put it aside for something else. So have you ever had the opportunity to just do a restaurant full out? Okay, so you didn't put it in the back burner.
So many memories is there.
You know what I'm saying? Like back burner, that means it had to be in front of you, and you can put it back.
I dream I want to be able to see you move.
Or like cooking. You can look at cook back. You know?
To our
If
house.
people use the front eyes
The house can
for
become
what they're doing, then you put the other stuff in the back burners. Because technically that. Did you ever have a chance to have a restaurant?
Do you think that it'll stay there forever?
Yeah, don't look at me like that.
It's dream.
And how can I help you make this situation?
But did someone say, here's an opportunity?
That's what we'll do.
Somebody say, I have a place for you to be okay. But did somebody say, did somebody give you the opportunity to do medical stuff? You shadowed so many people. You should see that you didn't put the restaurant in that right. It's gonna come. But I hear and feel
It's the
how
truth.
do you feel after we gonna watch that video yesterday? That what you're studying can be really prevented by a simple change of diet. Like you go to these schools to get all these degrees, but the thing that really solves it, the cure for cancer, isn't diet. So how do you feel about that now? Doesn't that kind of make you feel like what we're looking for isn't what you basically you're saying, okay, yeah, I'm looking for a drug. I'm going to get my PhD to find a drug. And I'm going to administer that drug because that's what doctors do. They administer drugs to people. But what I'm saying is, how does that make you look at people?
I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
See everything around.
Alright, so the quick.
I know. That's why. I said.
Alright, so
You know, make a house.
what do I feel I put on the back burner?
At least nothing that I'm not.
Is
I
to
feel-
not only move, but my dream is to
I feel
have
like
a studio.
I partially put this medicine in the back burner because I have research. But then I'm saying like, have you ever had the opportunity to just do medicine? And I was in my mind, like,
It's just one dream.
I mean, I'm studying it. I don't know if I'm getting places to back burner. Going to the gym, I put on the back
And
burner,
also,
getting
I
healthy,
do
I put on the back burner.
Because
until yesterday,
coaching,
I know I'm okay.
our
I was
coaching,
our chest.
Well, I was
So
on
I
research
might have
about
put
that.
like no stuff in the back burner.
I want you to say what you had to say, but it's about your head.
Interesting.
I have the first decided I want to do it. Then you can support me. If I don't decide to do it, you can't support
Because, you know, it's hard to find clients.
I can't support me in anything I don't want to do.
Pancake conversation?
No, this is like.
I think Pancake's is a secret word, to be honest.
No, it's not. No, it's
What?
really
What
no. It's no. She really cooks pancakes and they like really good. They're crushed. Okay, just me. Let's not include everybody.
You upset?
Nah, cause you gotta be careful who you invite over to try the food, cause then they be liking the food. So yeah.
Why is that a bad thing? Okay. Anyway, so Ross had a chance to answer that question. Wonderful. All right. Got maybe three more questions, and then we can kind of talk through just how we felt about this exercise. So, what's one of your pet peeves of yours? Not a pet peeve. Not a pet peeve of the other person. What is one of your own personal pet peeves that you wish you could get rid of yourself because it hampers your enjoyment of life? So this is an introspective question. What's a pet peeve of yours that you wish wasn't a pet peeve of yours that you feel like hinders you from enjoying life? So let me see if I can give an example. My example would be if your pet... Yeah, what's that? What you got?
I don't like being dirty, and so I think it hinders me enjoying life. Like I don't venture outside much. So like hiking, climbing Stone Mountain, I see people's pictures. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful, but I'll get dirty.
Okay, so that's a good example.
That's a good example.
What? You been somewhere?
So what is
Oh.
your pet peeve?
Oh, I was gonna take you one time, but you already been.
I feel like
My pet peeve is having things in order. Reason why is
But how can
have
that?
things out of order.
How should you try to? How is that hindering you from enjoying the life? If you procrastinate it,
It
then
causes you to give up. You gotta give up. You gotta.
no. But how should
I
it?
ain't going no more.
Yeah.
She said she didn't like being dirty. It hinders her because it doesn't allow her to enjoy life. You know what she said?
Okay.
And
You know,
No, what? How is procrastinating hindering you?
Okay. I knew that. Okay, so my pet peeve is
So you would rather go to that movie
actually I got two.
than do the work?
Maybe.
Oh, I got you.
First one,
A pet.
That is never the case.
I'm just
Pet.
saying.
like I worried so much that something came out of it, but
you talk about it a lot.
and I talk about it because I'm so used to being alone and fighting my own battles. And
I don't like when things are moving.
I'm
No, that's
already.
One of your pet peeves, what do you think a pet peeve is about?
Was that yours?
I don't think procrastination is one word.
looking
I
at
don't like
I'm
when
fixing
things are
myself
moving.
up better and doing
Listen,
more
like, can I finish?
to be attractive in it too. Because when you're
I just
attractive,
was
you
using
attract people and
I'm rolling
you
it up.
attract what you are. So
I'm rolling.
if I
So,
walk around with slippers
I
and
think-
everywhere I go and my hair done,
I don't like when things are moving and I don't know where they are. I don't like that.
This is not where it's supposed to
Mhm.
Yeah, like you like moving stuff. But
opportunity.
oh, you
Because
like
I don't know when the opportunity may come.
be.
because sometimes okay, listen.
They open opportunities.
Sometimes those things being moved
I see.
need to be moved.
That's something.
I just didn't want to
that I
move.
want.
This is deeper than me saying moving stuff. Think about it.
I never did it.
I like having control of things.
I do hair,
But then when I don't have control, I just feel like I don't know what I'm
but they
doing.
really don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like that happens a lot.
You gotta know what to pay for.
And
shop.
how does that hinder me? Because
All my life.
I'm not gonna have control over everything, even though I desire to have it. Control makes me calm, but when I don't have control, I'm very
I mean, if you want stuff
and it hurts me because it keeps people from maybe helping.
and then I have to learn how to take
Like, remember you just be moving stuff?
No,
why did you put that there?
because I have paid $300 for dress.
But next time,
And it'd be thrown on the floor.
you be saying like stuff like that. So I'm like, you doing something that helps me, but I'm not in control of it. So I find issue with it.
You know what?
But it will be
You
on
need
the
to
different
stop
way.
it because you the same way.
Okay.
You the same way.
What's just something?
I can't feel this is not hopeless.
But we can help each other.
I said, I like to do the, be the, helping hand. When it comes to that, because like, I like new dress, new skirt, new shoes. Put it up in the proper way. Like that. Now I find myself.
Just the top of it.
Right.
I'm gonna get her some
That
water
was
so
you.
maybe she'll eat it.
Yes, it was.
I started to develop that.
But you know what it is? It's laziness. It's laziness. And
You're funny, Ruby.
Organization. That's what I was saying.
This is good, First Lady. Y'all said I was gonna do a retreat. What happened to that?
we're gonna do it like next year.
Where we going?
So we got to
On a cruise or we going to the actual beach?
I don't know. I wanna go to
All right.
A whole lot.
We got 3 more questions and then we're wrapping this up. All right, so 3 more. Here is
This is juice.
the
I
first
love
of the
barbecue
last 3.
chips.
Name an activity you used to do when you were younger that you do not do anymore, but you likely enjoy if you started doing it again.
Uh-oh. That's a good one.
And then, do you think that we should add this to our lives now? So I have one. So I used to work both with campus.
I would love
I got you.
this question.
Trying to get you some water. You thinking about it? Or you about to answer first?
Okay, so
Huh?
I don't know, but I had to think about it. I had it doing it too.
When you were younger, that you don't do anymore, but you likely enjoy it and start doing it.
That's some of the reasons too. I got in trouble in school too. Doing this. The teacher always got on me by doing it as well when I was in school.
So you said name something that you used to do.
That you were young when you were younger, that you enjoy, that you don't do anymore, but you think that if you start doing it again, you would likely enjoy it. And do you think that is something that we should incorporate into our lives?
We used to go roller skating every other week.
Really?
Fishing?
Where?
Because
In Blacksburg?
Oh, nah, this you said when I was younger.
So,
Oh,
really?
so why when you were younger and you enjoyed it, that you don't do now, but you would like to you would like to do it again.
At my age, my son.
Right.
So around the thing I used to do was a kid. Kind of stuff.
Ever since I was all the way for like 4 years. We're gonna go on Saturday. So I was
It's a couple of things, but they should play games a lot.
Like video games?
Not video games.
Like board games?
Like see what I'm making right here. This is the paper football. When I was a kid, I used to play this a lot. When I got through doing this, I played chess. When I got through playing shuttles, I played tic-tac-toe.
So your name was fishing?
I was always did. I did that as a child. I always, got in trouble in school
Playing
a lot.
basketball outside. Oh, I thought you were say come on.
Now, do you would you like to do it again?
Yeah, I'm
That'll be something that you would like to do now. You could teach me how to do it, because I've never played that.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why I think it'd be. The reason why. The reason why I think it's good because it's getting back to what you said. When your pet peeve is word. If I possibly used to our life together, you won't worry about stuff so much. This in these days when the baby and even you not to worry because you be occupied. You got charities, you got paper football. I used to fly at paper airplanes a lot as a kid. Tic-tac-toe, like how you be playing. I enjoyed it. That's my way right now. I did all that as a kid. Man, something that you did as a kid that you think we can apply to your life today.
To be honest with you, I miss bingo.
Really?
Yes, I used to go to bingo
I
every
do miss.
Friday.
Sometimes I miss
Every
playing video games type of versions, but that was really fun.
fanatic.
But you're not a video
And I
game
have
person.
not been to bingo since I've been here.
That's an individual player. I'm talking about playing ball against each other or playing like Call of Duty together. That's something I used to do. I don't know if we need it now.
But
Sometimes stuff can be a distraction.
I'm ear hustler. You can just go and have fun.
But I will say,
I'm ear hustling. You can just go and have fun.
Huh?
I said I'm ear hustling. You can just go and have fun. I used to go because Albany, so I used to go my grandma, my great grandmother all the time.
Right. I miss it. I was telling him
I
I
love
miss
this.
bingo.
I miss going with my granddad, but when he died, that kind of died.
And they
with him.
have it here, but
So I stopped going.
it's not like
What else? Fishing, video games.
I never went, so I need to go.
I miss going outside playing basketball.
We used to
But
play
you don't like going outside playing basketball. I used to play horse with my brother, so we'll do these trick shots and see if we could like duplicate them where you got horse and then like get horse.
No, $1,000. I want $2,000.
Jackson Ball. I didn't play
Yeah,
Jackson Ball.
$75. I want $50. I want $25.
We'll play sorry
I miss playing football. Like college, like high school football, definitely.
when we
I had a guy going over his name Terrence Reese. Oh, Snoop. Snoop. He grew up in the project. His mother was named Miss Reese. She would be all the time.
Now, do you think these things should influence me in our life?
So we gotta go. One day. I don't know.
You ain't got no trampoline on.
Sky's on.
Take the time.
Sky's on. It's a whole warehouse of trampoline.
That is true. But we can't lay out there and look up at the stars and ain't no.
We're
Yeah.
not in the country.
No.
No.
Gotcha. All right. 2 more questions. Here we go. I'll save the last one for. I'm gonna switch the order. So, what is the second to last one for last night? What is your earliest memory?
Of us or of life?
Oh my word, Jeff. Answer both.
Of that
No.
You have to be very, very
I see.
detailed.
I see. So my first question, it's a twofer. 2 for 1. What is your earliest memory that you can remember just of life? And then if you want to additionally say your earliest memory of you as a couple, that's fine too. But of life. So your earliest memory of life.
That's crazy. I feel like I had people show me pictures, so I think
So,
that was my
so
earliest part of
where
life.
did you have this?
But it's not that I actually looked it up.
When they start talking to you, they're like, you remember so and so and so and so?
Earliest memory of life?
Then I got in trouble.
No.
I'm not about to sleep
Yeah.
They expect me to
It's
remember all
something
this
that's
stuff.
stick with me.
How
The
old were you?
earliest memory that I know is my memory.
I think my first memory was playing a video game.
That had to be about.
So my dad used to have a Sega Genesis, so I used to play that at 3 and 4. I was playing that before I went to school. Like before I was old enough to go to school. So 4, 3, I was playing video games. I think it helped my
I
brain.
thought they looked really nice, but I
You
had
know,
ears.
I think it really did.
And my ears over my hands over my ears because they were terrible loud.
One, two. You went to school at
So
two.
it was a mixture
Yeah, Black Synapse and
What?
New York and like
What school?
that's why
It was-
Nah, school that you started at one?
Rice.
Oh, that daycare.
No.
Maybe daycare was my earliest memory.
So that's my earliest
I remember used to go to daycare. My dad used to drop me early off in the morning. And I used to play there
Yeah.
and watch, what was that? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Or when the baby blew up the baby. The baby was super large and used to walk around. Or like, or Twins. Toy Story. Barney was later. I remember staying with my grandparents. Once I got a certain age, I just stayed with them with no more daycare.
It's doing what?
But,
I saw him.
Being at the school.
It's hearing it now.
I remember when daycare used to have some good grits. Oh my god. Those grits in daycare was hitting.
I remember.
They used to give us some pizza and no, this is daycare, man. This is like they would feed us like oatmeal, and the lady name was Miss Grace.
That was Miss Maggie.
I remember her name. That's crazy.
Miss Maggie.
Maggie B.
A whole lot of stuff at the time. The things that you told me.
Who, Brad? Oh, that's good.
I remember my dad told me the first thing he told me.
So that's when we first realized we was alive, right? Then I had some pictures not for Christmas. My dad bought me a red Power Ranger.
Be there for your
And
mom.
then he bought me one of them little tight skulls that you shoot ball in the house. That was the thing.
Well,
I remember my dad bought me that Power Wheel. It was a red Z71 Power Wheel. So I used to drive it. I still
he
have
worked
it.
and
Still
he was out in the streets too. Yeah, he did it in his camp do for us. During good times. And I can kind of remember, but it seemed kind of blurry because of my age. So much been passed on.
He was a baby? That was funny. Yeah, you don't even like my toes.
Out of all the sisters and brothers.
You all the time.
Did they all choose or did you mainly do it?
I mean,
So when did you, what's your first memory of it?
They were younger than you.
well, the other one went down.
Okay.
It was just me, my older sister, and my other sister. Just me on first,
Okay.
and my brother took the fourth set.
That's your first memory of it?
The other five came along.
Not even texting me? That wasn't the first memory? Even though that came, oh, that was your first in person.
I'm 9 or 10 years old.
Okay. So it's a whole nother generation.
That was your first memory of it.
That's my early memory.
Okay. No, you didn't. I wish you had told me back then that you didn't like text me.
All right, last question. We're ready? Here's the last one. When did you last cry by yourself? And how can I help you more when you're upset?
I don't ever really cry by myself.
Cry, get emotional, deep into thought by yourself. Want to cry but can't cry.
I only cried at church. I don't really cry. Like, just by myself.
How can I help you when you are upset?
Or, yeah, how can I help you when you're upset?
Oh, so when the last time you cried by yourself? You cried
So
by
when was the last time that you
By
cried
yourself.
by yourself?
I've been married.
That's like normal for you.
Crying though.
You was crying last night.
It's been my own.
That's right.
I ain't
I
cry
see
last
you
night.
like this.
He put out of one of my eyes.
Oh,
You know, think about stuff.
No, I should use that too.
Jeffrey, the last time I cried by myself.
I remember you cried
You're not crying because you're angry. You're not crying because you're angry.
Oh, remember that time in the car?
Okay.
No, I wouldn't let- If we're really at a distance, you gotta find a way to effectively comfort one another. Cause I don't feel like staying on the phone with us. I don't like it. Because we don't be, okay, first of all, we don't be talking about it. And you just be like, you just be on the phone just to look at me. And I'd be like, I wanna go to sleep. So, we do, this is like a fake way. So we both feel satisfied with the communication that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Last night I cried by myself. I know I'm usually around people.
Like being with you.
Like
You know,
Sunday,
that you're saying I'm always supportive of
crying here.
everything you do.
Esther was here. And I was crying at church. I was around all them people. And Jesus was with me. Only Jesus can make me cry. I do got, when I'm frustrated with you and don't know what to do, I just pray. I don't want to cry. Not really argue about this.
Sometimes when I be around the house, I be like,
So not about me asking you about school. Because I don't have no answer. You keep asking. I don't know. I don't figure it out. And you just be like, and you be sending me stuff. So I'll be like, girl, my schedule set up right now. I don't have time to act. Even if I get it, unless you can't get the money unless you're actively enrolled. You get what I'm saying? So if you do get the money, you can't just pay off for old balance. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be like, hey, I know she's trying to help, but I don't know how this gonna work. Like, you know what you do in those moments? Pray really hard. Pray really hard for me. Because that's all I can really tell you. Like, I don't know how this stuff comes together. I have to pray for that Jesus. I know a solution, but that could fall through. That's good. $2,500 from this program. I'm gonna borrow it from them back all the time. That could be a solution. That's what I'm asking. So,
Stay out the way.
I don't know. Yeah. Feel like emotions. So you gotta start separating emotions from feelings. Emotions can be great when you need them. They can be horrible. When they influence you to feel horrible.
Stay away from people like that.
Jesus can't work you that. Jesus can't work you that.
But I think just reassuring you.
Listen, that lady was in the choir. Just cause.
And let's just start playing. In this world, and on this earth, you gonna cry.
Listen, some people be saying just can't work it.
That
They
story.
be like, that problem's done.
But they gonna last all day.
They gonna last all
They
week.
ain't gonna last all week. They gonna dry up, dry land. The sun gonna come out.
The worship service was good last
But
night.
then when the sun come out, remember.
It was cool. They had some group.
It looked like it. Arnisha went live.
Oh,
Arnisha go live.
she
She went live.
goes live at church a lot.
That was the first time I went live.
Really?
Thank you.
Really? She was trying to figure it out at the James Woodson concert. I thought she did.
Alright, so we had an opportunity.
She was trying to do it.
We had an opportunity to answer
See,
those
I never
questions.
seen
So again, so tonight what I wanted to do was to be able just to facilitate some small talk as couples, right? To be able to get some responses, maybe some things that we knew, some things that we didn't know, some things that maybe were comical or funny. There was lots of laughing tonight, right? And so, what are your thoughts just about this kind of exercise, this kind of thing? Was it helpful in any way? Did get anything out of it? That kind of those kind of questions there. Anything that you got? Because I did. Very bad.
I believe it was very helpful. It kind of allows you to reminisce in a sense why y'all started in the first place, why we're together. It opens the door to other conversations that when we waiting for y'all to ask other questions that we start just thinking about, like triggers other things. It may present questions that cause us to be more transparent and vulnerable. So I think it's effective. Very effective.
Thoughts? Anything?
Well, I absolutely enjoyed this this conversation, and it was very helpful to me because some of the things I really didn't know. So it just opened up, doors to get to understand each other because we are going to get married soon. So we definitely need to talk about those things, and so I think that it was very helpful. We're going to continue to do this too. I hope, because sometimes y'all men don't like to talk, but I think the way you presented it and the way that you, as a question, even if we write it down, I think writing it down and maybe I can give it to him and then he can write it down and give it to me because sometimes it's better communicating like that. So I absolutely enjoyed it.
I think this is a good step program before marriage counseling. Yeah.
I also, I think all the questions that was answered here, they enable you to know more about the individual, your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. I think that it was real helpful.
Cool. Thank you. Thoughts, ma'am? Any closing remarks? Yeah, so that was one of the goals for tonight. The goal for tonight was to facilitate small talk that would lead to large, transparent conversations that would help us to discover more about who we're sitting next to, who in a relationship, that would kind of open up dialogue and do those kind of things to demonstrate that sometimes just making room for small conversations trickle into larger conversations, right? So I can remember one of the things we, right after we first got married, maybe about 2 years after we got married, we were sitting in a townhouse. So Anaya at that point must have been maybe a couple of months old. Our daughter, she's now 6 or a couple of us. And so we were sitting there and we said, we're just going to run through and just talk through like all of the negative, bad stuff in our lives again. So we sat at the dining room table and just talked and just laughed and cried and everything in between. It was super funny. And it reminded us, because we've been friends for a long time, so it reminded us of a lot of stuff that we knew or that we had forgotten, or maybe we skipped over in stories or steps or kind of stuff like that. And so it was cool. So I mean, just various conversations, right, to be able to do that. Because a large goal when you're married, you want to be married and you want to be engaged and things like that, you want to make sure that the person that you're with, first time the camera's off, I have to move on. The person that you're with, one is your friend, and two, you can be open and honest and transparent with, right? That you can have a conversation, have a comfortable conversation,
Right.
have a real conversation, and be aware of where your feelings are and why you feel that way, right? Because sometimes when you're constantly with a person, you're married to a person, they can look at everybody else and feel like you have better conversations with everybody else but them. And sometimes that is actually the case. And when that is the case, then the individual who is being accused of that has to stop and say, is that true? Not me going to bat to tell you that it's not true. Is it true? And if it is true, then why is it true? Why am I not comfortable? Or why do I get annoyed easily with this person? Or why do I not want to talk to them? Or why this or why that? And how can I have a conversation about that? And how can I work on that? Sometimes with some of us, we just get annoyed easily by the people that we're constantly around. Love them, want to be around them, but they start having a conversation and we're like, oh, you're talking again. And then somebody else starts talking and you're all engaged in the conversation. But if that's the case, you gotta get to the point where like, okay, I can't always be like, oh my God, I'm so tired of hearing you talk. Would you please hush your mouth? At some point, you gotta deal with why you feel like that. Right? Why you feel like that, or address it. And even if you can't identify why you feel like that, you gotta say to yourself, you know what? I just gotta do better. I gotta not demonstrate my naughtiness right now and push myself to be engaged, even if I don't feel like it. And sometimes the reason is as simple as we're in the same space, but I want my own space right now. Right? We're in the same space, but I've been dealing with people all day long, and I know that all you want is some time right now. But we're together all the time. We sleep in the same bed. We're together. This, that, and third. I don't want to bother right now. And sometimes that's okay, and sometimes it's not. But if that's always the case, then that's problematic. Right. So just to be able to facilitate conversation, it is important. So thank you all for coming and hanging out with us tonight.
I thought that was the last question.
That was the last question.
No, I thought what you was talking about was like a question.
Oh no,
like,
no,
leading to the last question.
no. The last question was about
He was getting his answer ready and everything. He was ready.
no. That's a conversation that you can have amongst yourselves. But just in this space, we'll probably do this more often. It's just to be able to facilitate conversation, right? To be able to facilitate a larger group discussion. This format is radically different from our Marriage Letters format, which looks more like practical points and then group discussion and like sharing of experiences, life experiences in those settings. So it's like, okay, well, so we have a problem with, we're talking about communication. So then, how do we effectively communicate? Okay, we got this problem here with that. This is how we can work with it. This our experience has been in this particular area. That kind of thing. That's what that setting looks like. This one really though, this setting is more of a setting, while it can develop into that, is more of a pushing towards getting to know you better, being more deliberate about communication, being more deliberate about being with you. Right. It's one of the things that drives me insane is when everybody's sitting at the dining room table, but nobody's at the dining room table because everybody's in their phone. We went out after the movie to a restaurant that I was supposed to go to, I haven't been yet. And I finally went, and they had a bunch of my favorite games. So all of these games are free, minus the skee ball, which you have to pay for. You got to put coins in the machine for the skee ball. So you went to Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's, you roll the balls up the little thing. Right. Skee ball, free ball, But I don't know if you guys know what bocce ball is, but they have 2 bocce ball courts in there. They have darts in there. They have backgammon. They have pool tables. And then they have maybe foosball. Something else I'm missing. But they have a brick load of board games. So I taught everybody at the table, minus my wife. I taught them how to play bocce ball, and then we grabbed Sorry and we played Sorry. Sorry was a game that I learned how to play growing up. Right, and we played Sorry, and she was like the comeback kid because she was the last one out, and she beat us all. I have no idea how that happened. And I lost. Completely lost. Everybody else beat me. And I was like, what's going on? Which wasn't a blow to my self-esteem, but I was like, what's going on? Because I don't really lose board games.
Maybe it just says you're a good teacher.
Well, no, I was teaching bocce ball. Everybody knew how to play Sorry. And board games, I typically don't lose board games. No, you can ask them. They get mad at me. They don't like playing board games with me. I typically don't lose board games. And I utterly lost. I was like, no, this is what's happening. I'm just going. Point of the story is I have no idea. Oh, just talking about. I really don't remember. Thank you very much. Yes. What was I talking about?
You were talking about having conversations about being in your phone.
Having conversations about being in your phone. So something like that. Finding that was one of the stories. See, thank you. This is our memory. Exactly. Yeah. So that is the point of the story. The point of the story really is about being present. How present. We weren't on our phones like that, right? We grabbed something to eat. We played bocce ball. We talked. We played the game. You know what I mean? How are you present in the moment? And I think it becomes important for us, especially when we're married, we're engaged, we're seriously dating, anything in between, to be present with each other. Because with the new age of all things social media, it's become more and more difficult to be present.
I can remember when cell phones weren't a thing, and we were far more present with each other.
Right.
And I remember when everybody started getting cell phones, we were still present with each other. And then I remember when that blasted beep beep chirp came out. I don't know if y'all don't even know. You know what chirp is? The beep, the Motorola chirp.
Yeah.
It was like the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
The walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
It was the walkie-talkie.
The worst. Everybody be in the movie theater. Beep.
The
Hey.
yeah.
And horrible.
Oh, walkie.
Like walkie-talkie, but it was like cell phone walkie-talkies.
It was on a
Like
cell
chirp.
phone. Yeah.
Oh,
You
it
had
was.
the chirp.
My first cell phone was the slide one that you could type.
Oh,
You got a
You
sidekick?
had the sidekick.
Those
It
were
wasn't a sidekick.
It
It
wasn't a
was
sidekick.
like LG.
Yeah,
It was LG's version.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Razor was the thing.
Yeah, the razors was the
My first cell phone.
Was a Nokia track phone.
Oh yeah, those used to be cool.
I had
games.
I had a maroon pager.
Everybody would sit on there and play Snake.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but even that, like the you know, there was a point when cell phones didn't exist. If you had a restaurant and somebody did find you, they had to know where you were, what restaurant you were going to, and they had to call the restaurant to ask
And
to
the
talk to
people
you.
would come
And they would come and get you from your table
Yeah.
and say you had a phone call, so that you were present. And I think that we have to remember how to be present with each other. It's important. It's important. Let's watch a movie. So I'm sitting scrolling, trolling on Instagram and Facebook, not watching a movie. You not watching a movie? You're saying what happened? Or so and so just did so and so. I don't know. I missed that. Or better yet, this is what we do. What just happened?
Right.
Because everybody laughing and making a noise or something like that, right? We got to do a better job.
That is so true.
So that's the goal of that. Thank you all for coming. Make sure you take some with you. I got some to-go stuff. If you want to take a to-go box or something.
All right.
And yeah, y'all have a good night. Enjoy the service tomorrow. Well, I'll see y'all in church. So, where you guys going to church at tomorrow?
We're I don't know.
Okay. Well, we have service at 2 o'clock. We're in transition right now, building wise. So we have service at 2 o'clock here. You guys want to come and worship with us tomorrow at 2 o'clock here.
Yes,
Same spot.
right here.
Same spot.
Same spot.
You'll just see drums here, and you'll see chairs there, but we'll be here at 2 o'clock. Our service from it's about 90-minute service from 2 to 3:30.
And Jesus will be here too.
Praise God.
He
I like
beats us
that.
here.
I
Shows
like
up.
that.
He shows up.
Jesus beats us
Amen.
here.
We've
He
been,
beats us
we've
here.
been to some churches where the church was there, but Jesus wasn't there.
My God. My God.
We were just saying that.
Yeah, so.
And
Yeah.
the 2 o'clock is actually
A wonderful
a
time.
great time.
It's a wonderful time.
Yeah, so we'll be here at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So you guys are more than welcome to come back and
So
worship with us
what's the
tomorrow.
name of the church?
Bethesda House International Church.
They have a website too.
BHIchurch.com.
And
And an app.
app.
Come on, and the app.
Okay.
You can search on your phone. You can search BHI Church, and the
Okay.
mobile app will pop up.
Right.
Okay.
Were you able to
Okay.
look at the site for the women's conference?
I didn't go. To be honest, I didn't go because we've been going every night.
Right.
Yeah, y'all been-
right. Cause
y'all been down at the- at the-
Every
Yeah.
night.
Oh,
But
we-
last night when I
Yeah.
got in, I said I'm gonna go ahead and register. 'Cause
Oh,
I
okay.
seen it
Yeah.
pop up.
So-
I didn't register until about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
So yeah.
When
Okay.
you sign up,
Yeah, what's your one at? Did you register yet, Anisha? Come on.
right? You know how the conference be popping. I wish I could go.
We go Friday night.
But I didn't know
You
about
go
it.
Friday, Friday night.
It's not the same
boys,
first
they
lady.
always behave.
They getting
on
a
us.
big
They always
package,
behave
so I'm
on
gonna get
us.
like the
Cause
sides.
No, first.
I do a lock-in for the college students
lock-in.
every year, and the boys from the ABC
They be
they
mad.
be mad trying to
Because they're
come
like,
to
when we gonna do something?
they be trying to come to our lock-ins.
So after this conference, you have other speakers, like guest
Yes,
speakers.
I'm actually not preaching or anything.
Oh,
Praise
okay,
God.
okay.
I have a lady
that's
is
a
coming
dope
and she's gonna be doing a lecture. Hold on, I'm talking.
All right, buddy. No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you that on Sunday.
I have a lady coming to do a lecture
Okay.
about the conference theme
You need some
in scripture, and
She's
that's gonna
coming
be no. This is Friday. This is for the
Okay.
conference. So Friday night she'll come and do the lecture, and then we'll have a service.
Okay.
And Overseer Stephanie Woods is coming from Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
She's gonna be preaching Friday night.
Oh,
And then Saturday there'll be classes from Pastor Denise Perkins from Glens Falls, New York.
Oh, okay.
And then Dr. Tamika Fairley, she's right here in Atlanta.
Okay.
And Overseer Blank, she'll be teaching a class too.
Oh, okay.
There'll be 3 classes on Saturday, and we'll have prayer together. We'll have lunch. So the registration includes your lunch
Okay.
and includes your swag bag.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and get that on.
So that's what the conference will be at.
Okay.
And
It'll be
then
good. The
people
venue
who are
is
here, the people who are in Atlanta they have the option to stay at the hotel as well. You
Okay.
can get a hotel room as well. Because
Okay.
I'll be having morning prayer. They have a water feature.
Okay.
Down there, we'll be having prayer.
Yeah, because we the Lord, from this situation, going to this conference this whole week, the Lord had blessed us with, birthed us with an opportunity to minister and to teach people about personalities. So that's what we're going to be doing.
Okay.
Him as teaching people, like coaching people about different personalities and to get to know your personality. So the ultimate goal is to learn your personality so you can learn the personality of Christ.
Okay.
So
So
that's
to be
what
a life coach.
Not a life coach, but a personality coach.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. So we're getting all of that together, and just coming here, you guys are helping me because like I never did this. So stepping out on faith and speaking to people. So just to see y'all doing it is motivating us to do it too.
Praise God.
Yeah.
Praise God. That's good. I'm glad you all were able to come.
I wish I was there last night. They missed it. They sung this song at the end. What was the name of the song? He said the song was
It's by Kurt Carr.
by Kurt Carr. It's a brand new song. I don't even think it's out yet.
He was saying something about if God bless me, I'll be a blessing to you.
To you. So God bless me, and now it's time for me to be a blessing to you. And that's how it's a chain reaction.
Okay.
And as you get blessed,
And you said that's a new song?
It's a new song. I don't even think it's out yet. It might be,
Oh, okay.
but I